The Berlin market attack, the guy, the lunatic.
Sweden as well.
Sweden, Stockholm, there's St. Petersburg, wasn't it? Barcelona, Brussels Airport. I am losing track, okay? And if it's Islamophobic to care or to be worried or to be frightened about those type of things, then yes, I am Islamophobic and proud. Britain first, because of the dominance of UKIP and Nigel Farage in British politics, has always gone down the road of being a street protest group, essentially. We focused all our energies in being active on the streets, protests, confrontations, invasions, all sorts of things like that, to grab people's attention, say, look at this problem, and then we go over there and we confront it. It's giving millions of people hope. The one thing that people do when they come up to me in Jada in the street, and they do it all the time, is they say, wow, you are brave, you lot. You're very brave, you're very courageous, and we're just, you know, compared to what my great-grandfather went through at the Battle of Dunkirk, and compared to what your grandfather went through in the Second World War, it's nothing really, is it? No. Our people are so soft now that they think what Britain First does is something extremely special. I just see it as business as usual, doing my duty. Just like a soldier would do, just get on with it. Okay? But up till now, we have focused primarily on being a street protest group by carrying out actions everywhere, in many different shapes and forms. Whether we're walking down Brick Lane, we're standing outside the East London Mosque, everywhere we go, we are challenging Islamic extremist problems. Okay? But the time has come in this country because there's a vacuum in British politics. There's a vacuum. The old British National Party that got 2 seats in the European Parliament is gone. Yeah. It's folded, it's finished, it's evaporated. Okay? That's a fact. United Kingdom Independence Party have lost their modus operandi, they've lost their reason for being. Okay? Farage is gone. Don't even know who this latest jellyfish leader is. Henry Bolton. Who's ever heard of him before? His first pronouncement when he came into the UKIP leadership was to say, we are not going to challenge Islam. We are not going to become an anti-Islam party. Remember that next time you go into the ballot box, when there's terror attacks, when they're scraping children off of Manchester Arena. You remember what the current leader of the ever-shrinking, ever-disintegrating UKIP said. Okay? So what are we left with? If you're in this country, like the millions and millions of people that are here, proud British people, who do you vote for? Who is really going to go up there and say, we are against all immigration because we're a tiny, overcrowded island with barely enough space and resources for our own people? Why do we need millions of people to come here continually while we've got millions of unemployed of our own? Who's going to get up there on Question Time or Newsnight or the BBC and say that? Because I know the people who are running UKIP aren't. UKIP's disintegrating, it's becoming irrelevant. Who's even seen Henry Bolton on TV since he took it?
No, Question Time.
It was on Question Time. Well, I don't watch Question Time because I end up having a borderline aneurysm every time I watch Question Time. But no, who have people got to vote for in this country? If you're worried about the growth of radical Islam and mosques and halal in schools and Muslim education in schools, who do you vote for? Who do you vote for if you're really worried about the effects, long-term effects of mass immigration? Who out there is banging the drum for all these issues? No one. There's a vacuum in British politics. And the state have seen this vacuum developing with the demise of UKIP. They've seen it. So they've concocted a load of bullshit, Mickey Mouse charges against her and against me, because they know there's an old Russian proverb, I believe, if you chop off the head of a fish, then, something I can't remember. But you can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to get me out of action and her out of action. They know full well that at least one of us has to be at liberty to run this movement. That's like when I spent Christmas and New Year last year in Pentonville prison in segregation for a whole month over Christmas. Britain First just carried on because she was out to lead it. This time they're trying to lock us both up. And why? They do not want us with our phenomenal, apocalyptic social media reach. They do not want us filling that vacuum with an extremely potent and energetic and dynamic, patriotic British political force in this country.
Yeah.
That's what they do not want. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
As leader, I must stand back sometimes and look at the big picture. What's happening? We are entering the final stages of the destruction of our country. There's no one to vote for anyone who's upset about what's happening to our country. So we come along with an organisation, a movement already there with a huge online reach, a huge massive support base, and we are on the verge of filling that vacuum and becoming a formal political party. And what do? They arrest us, charge us, and they're going to throw us in prison. It's the way the state deal with it. See, this is the state of the right wing in this country. There is no one left. Britain First is last man standing. We are the only political, patriotic force in this country left. Okay? And this is being recognised. This is being recognised by a lot of people. Okay? For example, when we went on the run around Europe, is everything all right there, Gary? When we went on the run around Europe, okay, people, all of a sudden, when we went into the European Parliament and we met with German patriots and French patriots, we were speaking to all these people who are elected, who rub shoulders with the likes of Nigel Farage, etc., all the time. Okay, these people knew who we were. These people are our friends now. In fact, because of what's happened over the last week, we are going to be holding a big meeting inside the European Parliament in Brussels or Strasbourg in December, where we are going to sit down with all of the MEPs, all the patriots that have been elected, and me and Jay are going to stand there, we're going to explain everything we need to do about our movement and where we're going to go. That's what we're going to do. And we've got support and offers of support coming in from all over the Western world. And as Vincent said to me earlier today, Jean-Marie Le Pen wants to meet us again in Paris in December.
In private meeting, and I'm waiting for the date.
There you go.
Yeah.
So doors are opening for our movement, left, right, and centre. We are taking off like a rocket. The very, very intelligent people who walk the corridors of the intelligence services in this country are looking and calculating and assessing what our movement is doing, what our potential is, and what the state of the political landscape is in this country. And they are terrified at this movement. And do you know what? It puts a huge smile on my face that the government is worried. And they'll be even more worried now because the likes of Donald Trump have signified that they at least know, very slightly, what's going on with me and Jada. They know what's going on. That's why he retweeted 3 times consecutively. Okay? This movement is sitting on the verge of great things. And all we need to do is keep going. We've got the formula correct. Protests, elections, social media. We are eons ahead of any other political force in this country. You would not believe the technology behind the scenes, the databases, the systems we use to send out text messages and emails and collect data and turn that data into consolidated members. This is what we're all about. Behind the scenes, there is a very complex, sophisticated machine at work. Okay? And it's building us a huge support base around the world. And that's all we're doing, is you keep collecting and collecting and collecting and collecting people and supporters and then consolidating them until we are a huge mass movement, and we're on the cusp of that. And like I said, our overseas links are growing, doors are opening left, right and centre. Not just in the West, but also in the East. You saw Jada on the streets of Wrocław in Poland a few weeks ago, where she's marching along with 10,000 Poles all screaming, "We want God, we want God." And she is at the front and she's a guest speaker. All of these people love Britain First. They admire Britain First. in France, in Belgium, everywhere. Our influence, our skills, our achievements are being recognised and they're being copied. And there's people all across Europe are asking us to come and see if we can revamp and renovate their party machines. And I look forward to spreading all the skill sets we've accumulated over many, many years of hard struggle all across the continent. And the security services know all of this. They know they've got a real monster on their hands in this country. That's why they're trying to snuff out very early any hope that we can really take off. That's what these charges are all about. I just want to end now by saying the main problem we have in this country is that our people are not producing the next generation. I mean, I know some of my friends, when I sit down with my old friends, I don't see them much anymore because I'm quite notorious now, but when I used to go around the table and say, how many kids you got? These are people that are 30, 31, 32. How many kids have you got? None, 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 one, none, none. Okay, and we all know that our grandparents, if you think about your nanny or your granddad, you think about how many children they had. 5, 6, 4, lots. 10, how many? 8. See?
My uncle 15.
Britain became a major world power with an empire. We achieved great things because our people were constantly producing the next generation. We're not doing that anymore. Our population levels, our population numbers are going to collapse. But at the same time, the average Muslim female is having 6.3 children. The average British female is having 1.3. It's a massive, titanic problem. And what's going to happen is, although we might be 75% of the population now, and all ethnic minorities, or whatever, non-indigenous in this country is 25%, in one generation, what is going to happen is it's going to go boom. And you're going to get out of bed one morning and think, wow, this has completely gone, this country, and we are now going to be facing being a minority very quickly in our own country. Okay? That is going to happen, which is why we need massive, fanatical effort right now, not in 20 years' time. Not, I'm getting sick and tired of trying to persuade British people to save themselves, to save their own country.
Give them money and incentives to have children.
We need to start having children. Every child you have is an act of war to save this country. That's the reality of the situation. So just to end up, this country needs your effort right now. This country needs grabbing by the scruff of the neck right now. We need to fill that political vacuum in this country. Excuse me! We need to fill that political vacuum in this country. Okay? We're going to stand in our first major election campaign next year. We're going to be standing for anywhere between 30 and 50 candidates in the local elections next year. And by hook or by crook, we will be getting our first Britain First councillors elected in this country. That is going to happen. So just to end up, if you love your country, you have come to the right place. Think about the sacrifice of your parents and grandparents and great-grandparents to build a secure future for this country, to hand it down to you, future generations. It's your duty now to save this country. We are in World War III. It's not going to have a start and a finish. It's going to be a slow-burning, gradually developing street conflict all over this country. We're going to lose control of our country. We are. It's going to end up in Northern Ireland with peace walls and total chaos and carnage and blood on the streets. That is your future. Get used to it and look forward to it, because that is what's going to happen. And I can tell you now that Britain First will always be there as the front line for our people. And if they send us to jail, we'll come straight back out and we will carry on. This is what separates us and you from all them treacherous, self-serving career politicians at Westminster. They have got not a drop of love or loyalty for their own country. That's what separates us from them, because every person here, every person who's ever joined this movement, the millions of people who support us out there, would give their lives for a future for our children. That is what we stand for, and that is what we are fighting for.
So